Hello there. Welcome back to another episode of I Love This, You Should Too, a podcast. We are proud members of the Alberta Podcast Network, which is locally grown and community supported. And I'm here with my fabulous co-host, Indy. Hi, Indy.
Hi. I like when we pretend we're just seeing each other for the first time.
Oh,
hi.
Hey, how are you?
How are you? Pretty good. How's it going?
Insert small talk.
Yeah.
And I am Samantha Hees, and we are here.
Are you, though?
Oh, no, I'm not.
Yeah, she is now Ashley Hees.
No, I am Samantha Randhawa. And we are here today to discuss Step Up China.
Yeah, also called Step Up Year of the Dance. And Step Up, the one you never heard of.
The one that didn't come to America.
No, we had a hard time finding out anything about this movie.
Yeah.
I did manage to get a copy, but only a dub. I cannot find the original Mandarin version anywhere. And even if you go to their IMDb, they don't even have the cast listed.
Yeah.
And there's no Wikipedia page for this movie.
Yeah, you can find names for like 6 people, most of which are American actors. I assume they brought in to be the dance crew from America.
Yeah, that's true.
And then none of the Chinese actors, including like one of the main guys, exist.
Yeah, even for posters for this movie, the names above the title are all people who are in one dance at the end of the movie because those are like American names.
That's weird that we can't find anything.
Well, now, yeah, Samantha has turned into the one who brings in little known foreign movies. So now I think if you've gotten this, I have free license to bring in like all of my stuff.
Okay. You've always
all
had...
my little known foreign movies. Well, I try not to do them very often because nobody listens to those episodes and nobody watches those movies, and we're nothing if not crowd pleasers.
True. Which is why we did all the Step Ups. I'm kind of sad that this is the last Step Up episode. It's like, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do with my life?
You know what? We had a good run.
Yeah.
Let's not be sad it's over, but be happy that we all went on this journey together.
On the Step Up journey?
Yeah, and what a journey it was. Before we take this final step up of our stepping up journey.
This is sad. Wow.
Not that sad.
This is a morose episode.
Let's thank our first sponsor of the episode, and that is the Edmonton Community Foundation and their podcast, the Well Endowed Podcast, which is hosted and produced by Andrew Paul and Lisa Pruden. It explores the impact of passionate people who are working to make Edmonton a strong, vibrant city to live in. The Edmonton Community Foundation helps people create endowment funds, and this podcast tells the stories of how those endowments intersect with the community. If you want to listen or just find out more about the podcast, you can subscribe at thewellendowedpodcast.com, or you can listen to them wherever you are listening to us right now.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, before we get into it, are you sad this is your last step up?
I am. This was like a whole journey.
It was. But I really thought by this point I would be kind of making some commentary on how this franchise has changed and what that says about the culture. But I got nothing. It was the same movie
with slightly
5
different?
times. I feel like the first one was different. The rest were all pretty similar.
Yeah. It was like the same movie with different setting and vaguely handsome white guys.
But now we have some vaguely handsome Chinese guys.
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting change.
It was. I don't want to put you on the spot yet, but maybe at the end we can rank our step up movies.
Oh, I don't know.
That's why I said I'm not putting you on the spot now. But you don't know, but you were very confident in that you don't know. Like you answered you don't know very quickly.
Yeah.
So you really don't know.
I really don't know.
Well, without ranking, in the world of Step Up, how does Step Up China not rank? Is it a good Step Up movie?
I enjoyed it. It was a little confusing because I think the dub missed some like stuff that might not have been translated in the script.
The dub was bad.
The dub was very
poorly
bad.
done, for sure.
So I think we may have missed some things that may have been important.
You'll have to point those out to me because although I agree the dub was pretty bad, I didn't find anything confusing or out of place. No more so than other Step Up movies, at least.
Yeah, but I liked that it sort of followed the general guidelines of a Step Up movie.
Yeah, I would say the format of this was amongst the best.
Yeah.
For Step Up movies, not for movies.
Yeah.
I think
movies, just generally.
3 is still going to be my number 1 because it also departed the most because at the beginning it was a different movie than what it ended up being, which was the formula that they do for all of them. And this probably departs the most next to that, so maybe that's why I like those two. I didn't get a chance to be sick of this movie. I didn't feel like I'd seen this exact movie many times. I've just seen similar movies many times.
It's true. The change of like scenery and actors and like just the general look of the movie was a nice, refreshing change.
I think the biggest thing is this isn't a romance.
Yes.
There is romantic elements, but that is not what is driving it. Rather, it is kind of two people from different worlds, but they don't fall in love. They just gain a mutual respect for each other and team up.
Yeah.
So it was the same thing as a lot of the Step Up movies, but a friendship rather than a romantic relationship.
Yeah. You said it the best.
Of everyone, because nobody talks about this movie.
No, you are the first. Second, sorry.
Well, let's get into it. This is one of those movies that starts off with a, now, I bet you're wondering how I got here. And
which was fun, because it was different than, it was like the same as the American Step Up movies, because you usually get a little bit of a flash forward or some kind of montage about how much they love dance.
Yeah, but here we start at the final dance, and then we get to hear the story of how our hero, Tai-ho, got here.
Right.
And as soon as he was introduced as the lead, I figured, this movie's going to be a little different, and this guy can probably dance. Because he's not the standard handsome guy.
Right.
There is a standard handsome guy, but our lead is not that, and I feel like he got this role because he is a good dancer and fighter, which we'll get into.
Yeah. I definitely think he danced well.
Yeah.
And I was very impressed at the level of dance in this movie.
Good dancing. Especially from the main crew, which we'll get to. But usually the main crew is like good looking and not the best dancers. Oh, the Iron Crew, and then they meet up with the Sky Crew.
Yeah.
And they are Binary, Waddles, Rice Ball, Clip Clop, Niecy, Mr. Kebab, Fetchy Fetch, Big Bird, Little Sister, Jeep Monkey. They have the best names ever.
Yeah, they do. And I wish that there was like an actual cast list for this, because I wanted to see everyone's names again.
One thing that is kind of funny is Hee-Xuan, who is the kind of rival and then friend of our hero, Tai-ho. His name is Bobo.
Bobo?
Yeah, that's the actor's
name. Like in real life.
He's just credited in English, with English letters, Bobo.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And Tai-ho doesn't get a credit anymore. I don't know who that actor-dancer is.
So weird.
Yeah, he's the star of this, and I can't find anything about him.
Is there some kind of Chinese IMDb?
Probably, but it's probably in Chinese and a little tricky for me to navigate.
Yeah. I usually like to sit with the like Wikipedia page and then the cast list open with their faces, like with pictures.
Yeah, so you can remember
so that I can go back and like, because you often don't remember characters' names.
No, I never do.
So I usually come in with that because I have it open, but so I'm flying blind.
But if it's in a different language, I'm better at names than you are then. That's the only time.
True.
So we get to hear, how did he get here?
Yeah.
And it's him in a club, and then the fight breaks out, and he smashes so many glasses into people's faces.
So much glasses smashed. Like, people would be, like, deeply cut by the
And
amount
they
of...
are, because our lead, his brother, and then that bad guy who kind of appears out of nowhere later all have the same scar.
Yeah.
Because they all get glasses smashed into their faces.
I can only imagine how many stitches were required from that bar fight.
I feel like they had a sale on those breakaway glasses, so they're like, oh yeah, we're going to smash a lot of glasses.
Oh, we're really going to go for it, yeah. Yeah, it's like a special glass that's super brittle.
Yeah, I've actually had one of those bottles smashed over my head. It hurt a lot.
I can imagine that, like, even no matter how brittle it is, you still have to have impact.
But then one other time I got hit with one of those bottles and it was fine. So maybe that first one, maybe it was just a bottle and they didn't tell me. But it hurt.
Also, in this opening montage, we see this guy in jail.
Yeah, and I liked that. I liked that they were cutting between him dancing at the club with his friends before the fight and him dancing in jail now.
Yeah.
And then it's revealed that he got into this fight and that's why he's here. I think it's a good opening. I think I said later on in this movie, at the 15-minute mark, like, well, I always like the first 15 minutes of a step up and then it gets shitty. And I think this carried that through more than a lot of step-up movies.
Yeah? Less shitty?
Oh, for sure.
I agree.
I would put this in my top 3 step-up movies.
Whoa.
So everything I say for how good this movie is, imagine I'm saying 4 step-up movies.
Okay.
Because all of them are bad and not good, and I don't really like them.
That's just implied.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds
So
good.
for a step movie, I like this one.
Okay. So, the end of this, like, kind of flashback montage is him getting out of jail
Yeah, and then he goes right back to the club
that he was arrested at.
Yeah, and he's wearing a jacket and a toque because, like, he's too tough to be hot.
Like, wouldn't he be hot? And, like...
He's too tough to be hot.
Okay, never mind.
And everyone there looks like they're 16 and he's like all tough and has a scar and just got out of 2 years in prison, and he orders a whiskey neat at this dance club, so you know he's tough.
He also looks like he really doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Like, he looks
totally.
so annoyed. I'm like, there are so many other places I'm sure you could get a nice, quiet whiskey neat after getting out of jail.
Yeah, but then, like, these people on the dance floor do this choreographed dance, and it's like a welcome dance for him, and then he's all happy.
And then he dances again.
See, I love that they break the stereotypes, I think, that are going to happen from all of these other bad American dance movies of like, oh, he's the tough guy, so now it's gonna, like, he's not gonna want to dance. But no, he wants to see his friends and he wants to dance. He was just kind of grumpy because he was alone.
Because he just got out of jail. I can think it's okay to be grumpy after getting out of jail.
I think that's when I'd be the happiest. I'd be most grumpy going into jail.
True. So they do this great dance and we see their, like, dance crew handshake? What is it? Arm sign?
Oh, yeah. Well, it changes, but that is their one for the first half of the movie.
Yeah.
Then they get a different one later, which maybe incorporates the sky. Because they do this kind of elbow thing because the Iron Crew does kung fu dancing.
Yes.
Sometimes. But it becomes a trademark of theirs later. And then they join up with the Sky Crew, and then their signature is like that elbow thing, but they also point up to the sky. Maybe it's a joining of iron and sky?
Oh, they're like, we're iron, but also sky.
I think that's what they're like.
That's what they say.
I think so.
Yeah, so I think it's a cute little, like, thing that they do to welcome him home. And, does he get in a fight that night again?
I don't think so. I think he just, like, dances with his buddies, and then he goes and walks around the neighborhood and, like, dances all over the neighborhood.
Oh,
because he's
yes,
having
yeah,
a good
okay.
time. And that's when I said, like, it's 15 minutes in and it's good because all of them are good for 15 minutes. But I think this one mostly kept it up.
It wasn't immediately apparent to me, and I think I may have just missed, like, title. But how long was he in jail?
2 years.
2 years. Okay,
Yes.
so did I miss something on the screen that said 2 years?
Well, it said 2 years later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I missed that then.
Yeah.
The dialogue there makes a lot more sense then, because they're, like, hanging out and having catch-up time, and they keep making reference to how long he's been away. And I was like, how long was he in jail? Because I kind of assumed that it was just like a sober-up kind of hold.
Oh no, he after all those faces he smashed with glasses?
Yeah.
He's lucky he got up 2 years.
Wow. Okay. That makes sense.
And then we cut to an idol audition. We call them idols in English too, right?
Not really.
Okay, well, what's the word we'd use? Like a boy band dance.
Like a boy band dance audition, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what's an idol?
I lived in Korea too long. You just say idol for like pop star.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it looked like a
American Idol. It's a term here.
Yeah, it's like a show.
Yeah, but people would know, I think. Okay, sometimes my English isn't the best. Sometimes it's very good.
Yes.
But sometimes it's very specific to places not here.
Yes. So it's like a boy band dance audition.
Yeah, so they don't sing. So it's not like a real idol show.
No, but they're like lip syncing along with this like poppy boy band music.
And one of the guys kicks another dude and like just straight up breaks his leg in the middle of the dance. And then someone comes around and goes like, all right, here you go. A trophy for all of you. We'll give it to this injured guy. But you, the kicker, we want you for our crew.
Yes, China's best dance crew, the Black Tiger crew.
Yeah.
We're going to say crew a lot in this episode.
So many crews. Who's your favorite crew in this movie?
Probably Sky Crew.
I'm an Iron Crew.
Are
and
you?
then later Sky Crew,
Yeah.
I guess. And then Phantom Crew.
Yeah.
And then Black Tiger.
Black Tiger didn't dance very well.
Oh, they weren't great.
I didn't think they were good. I thought they were very basic.
Oh, shit. Shade of the Black Tiger Crew.
Yeah.
You hear that, Black Tiger Crew? Sam thinks you ain't shit.
I said basic.
She says you a bunch of basic bitches. What are you going to do about it, Black Tiger Crew?
Okay. What's the jail guy's name?
Taiho.
He gets a job or takes on a bunch of like odd jobs and he starts teaching fan dance to old ladies. This
sequence, again, was hilarious.
Super fun.
It kind of harkens back to the Tyler Gage. What's that guy's name? Like the only superstar in all of these movies?
Oh, Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum, when he goes and like teaches... Oh, no, that's not him. Does he go teach tap? No, he takes tap and ballet and stuff.
Yes.
Okay, maybe it's not like that then. But yeah, he goes...
There's like a similar scene where he's taking like dance classes with kids. So it's got the similar feel because like the kids are super bossy and serious.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
I like this because he goes to like kids tap classes. He teaches old people fan dancing, and he's with a bunch of strippers pole dancing, and he keeps getting like thrown out because he does too complicated of movements.
Right. The fan dancing ladies will come over and like hit him with their fans because they're like too complicated.
Yeah, I love that. That was a fun sequence.
It was a really fun sequence. And then he goes and does the only other job apparently available to him, which is construction work.
Yeah, and I like him being set up as the protagonist because all of the other movies set up the protagonist as like, oh, he's an underdog because, he's really handsome and really rich. So, underdog.
Yeah.
Why does that make you an underdog?
I don't know.
This guy, I like him because he's an actual underdog because he just got out of jail.
Yeah.
He can't get hired anywhere. And not just because he's always smashing glasses into people's faces, but also... he's not the most handsome guy, and he is the best dancer.
Yeah.
Which is who should be the protagonist of a dance movie.
Yeah. So Taiho is at his construction site, and just inside the next building is one of the dancers from the boy band audition, the one who got kicked really hard.
Hee-Shuan.
And he turns...
also known as Bobo.
Turns out Bobo is the son of a real estate mogul, construction guy,
some millionaire,
engineer,
someone important,
and Bobo gets to be a firm manager just through like nepotism.
Yeah. If we think nepotism's bad here, I would argue it's much worse there. So
he like clearly doesn't want the job, but his dad is giving it to him, and the son's new assistant, I guess.
That guy's funny.
He was very funny because he sees the construction lunch break and he sees Taiho dancing. And he's like, oh my God, there's like a ruckus happening. There's dancing. You have to come see. And he's like, dancing doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah.
Like, but he's like very clearly distressed by it. And Bobo, because I can't remember his actual name. Hishwan starts a dance crew and offers the other guy, Taiho, a job basically to be on his dance crew and offers him 4 times his construction salary.
Yeah, and he gives this speech, Taiho does, I think, about how they come from different worlds. And that happens in every one of these movies. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, nah, fuck you. You're both rich. Mm-hmm. Then they usually are. Yeah. Not always, but usually. And they don't look like they come from different worlds at all. In this movie, it rings true more so than in the other ones. Mm-hmm. Because they are at very different places.
They are. So it was kind of refreshing to actually see like the construction guy and the guy with like a fancy assistant being a firm manager of what we do not know.
Yeah. His dad sets him up with a job, but he just wants to dance.
He just wants to dance.
And then they go, and there's like this dance battle. And in this movie, the dance battles actually have rules. Yeah. Unlike all the other ones, because Taiho, I think, gets thrown out because he pushes a guy. Yeah. And you can't push guys. No. It's a dance contest. Yeah. And a lot of problems are solved with dance battles in this movie. Yeah. And I say, good. It is a dance movie. Why don't they do that more often?
It's more dance justice.
I think this has probably a higher percentage of on-screen dance time than the other movies.
I agree. And it's like...
or sheer number of dances.
Full dances and less fancy, like, camera work. Yeah. Like, there is still some cutting and some, like, zooming and stuff. But I feel like in the American step-up movies, there's a lot more, like, crane happening and, like, lots of, like...
depending on which one,
effects and slow-mo and stuff that, like, really takes away from the fact that you've hired these, like, world-class dancers.
Although, I think if we're going to get into that, one of my 2 biggest complaints about this movie is how they would crop people. Like, they would shoot them American. Sorry, that's a dumb thing to say. American shot is from cowboy movies where they would show them just above the knee. Oh. So you could see that they're wearing a gun. That's why it's called an American shot. Right. They would shoot them like that in a dance sequence. Show me their fucking feet. It's a dance movie. I need to see their feet. And whenever you would see the feet, I'd be like, oh, that's very impressive.
He did yell this a couple times.
It's a dance movie. Yes. I need to see their feet.
It's very true. And at the end, we do get like a full dance where you can see their feet. Very impressive.
Yeah. They shot things too tight. And I actually think the camera movement in the dance sequences was very detrimental. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes they'd be doing this whole sequence straight on and then they'd cut away for the reveal and I wouldn't get to see like the finale of this whole thing they were setting up.
Right.
So I think the direction was not good when it comes to the dance stuff. And my other issue was the music. This probably has the worst music of any of the movies.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. And I feel like the music was also not the original music. I'm not sure if it's a licensing thing for the like Western world or what it is.
I wondered about that.
Because it doesn't seem to be in step with what they're doing.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like they're dancing to the music that we hear. So it seems off, and the same songs are used multiple times in the movie, and it's all just like garbage music. Mm-hmm. Sounds terrible.
It's like what you'd hear at like a mall. Like over the speakers, so you can't
dubstep.
Can't really hear it, but you can hear like the beat and like some lyricalness.
There's some lyricalness.
Yeah. So at this dance battle, the Sky Crew loses, which is also kind of different for a step-up movie because usually
I think it's like... Iron Crew at this point because it's Taiho's crew, which was Iron Crew.
Was it? I thought they were Sky Crew from the beginning.
Hishwan had Sky Crew.
I thought the Richies all laughed at the other guys for saying Sky Crew.
Vice versa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had it confused then.
But either way, the Iron Crew or whoever, they lose despite the fact that Hishwan comes in, and he has a cane at this point because... But he apparently doesn't need the cane.
He clearly doesn't need it.
Because he throws it away and does this cool dance in this place that is... every set of this movie is a large polished concrete warehouse. But they try to make it look like different things.
Yeah, they had like open garbage can fires.
Yeah, so it's like a post-apocalyptic alleyway, but it's inside. And then when they are actually in alleys and stuff, those are clearly also just big warehouse sound stages too.
Yeah, it was...
So the sets are odd because it's all...
manufactured?
Yeah, it's all clean warehouses.
Yeah.
And then they try to dress them up and just do set deck rather than like set building.
Yes. At the end of the dance crew, the little sister gives the rich guy, the leader of Sky Crew, medicine for his leg.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like nice. That was nice of her.
Yeah. And then he in turn thanks her and somehow finds where she works.
Yeah.
And brings her a gift dress.
Yeah.
And that was also an invitation to a party, which was a fun scene too.
Yeah.
So she goes to this party and everyone bullies her so much because they're like, oh, look at you, street trash. But she looks
this
great.
Is one of my favorite lines in the movie. The brother sees her as she's going off to the party and says, is that hot sauce on your lips?
Oh, yeah.
Because she's wearing makeup and lipstick.
Yeah.
So she's being bullied at this party, and the mean girls throw wine on her, which is like a pretty standard like mean girl thing to do.
Has someone ever thrown wine on you?
No.
Have you thrown wine on someone?
No.
Have you unintentionally thrown wine on someone?
I think I may have spilled wine on someone unintentionally, but like parties and jostling and that kind of thing.
Oh, Jocelyn was there?
Yeah. It was Jocelyn I threw wine on.
Well, she's always Jocelyn.
And so little sister pushes one of the girls and then gets to dance with the rich guy.
Yeah, and they do
full choreographed dance?
Yeah.
So like what, the second time they've met?
Yep.
Third time?
Great. I loved it.
Yeah.
And then Tai-Ho comes and is like, hey, what are you doing here? Stay away from my sister. They're not actually.
No.
Siblings, though, which is important for later.
Yeah.
Heishuan says, like, I'll tell you what, let's dance about it. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
it's a dance movie.
about it.
Solve
Do
your
it.
problem. So then they dance, and I can't remember which one of them says it, but they say, we're not that different after all.
Yeah.
Because we are both ourselves when we are dancing. Yeah.
Such a good line.
I think the clunkiness of this translation almost helps in a way, because you get more leniency from me when it's a dub and lines are that bad. But the normal step-up English movies have lines that bad constantly as well. And you're less forgiving because you're a native speaker. But when it's translated, you're like, I'm sure that sounds better in that language.
Like it's more eloquent.
Yeah. And I think Tai-Ho loses that dance, so then he has to join the crew.
Yes.
So then we have the scene where the two merging crews meet, and they're like, I don't like you, well, I don't like you either. Let's battle. And then they dance battle. And it's great. And then everyone's like, oh, okay, you're cool, though, because, we love dance.
Because everyone loves dance, and they all agree to work together.
Yeah.
And then we get this fun montage of everyone dancing at their jobs.
That's one of my favorite parts,
It was great. You get to see a guy who makes kebabs for a living, I assume.
Oh, that's why they call him Mr. Kebab.
He's like dancing.
I never got that because I called those skewers because like in China they wouldn't be called kebabs, but now I get it.
Yeah. So he's like dancing and putting sauce on stuff and like really going to town. It was great. And you see the little sister, is she twerking in front of the mirror?
I think she's trying to learn how to twerk.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then you see the barbershop guy who's like doing curls with a fire extinguisher, which was fun.
Yeah, I didn't really understand what was happening there, but I liked it.
And then someone comes up and he pretends he's like polishing it.
Oh, yeah.
The dad shows up and tells his son that he needs to go to USC in a month.
Oh, yeah. He says, you've been accepted. You're going to USC in California.
Yeah. Surprise. I applied for you. And
do we ever hear about that again?
We never hear.
Never comes up.
Like, I feel like they could have written in and said, like, they could have written in that he's like, yeah, and if you lose your dance battle, you have to go to USC in the fall. Like, it doesn't have to be in 1 month.
Something got cut out almost.
Yeah.
Because to have that in, and then when we see him, I'm kind of jumping to the end now, but when we see him on TV competing, the dad is like really into it, and he's very supportive. So maybe he was just like, oh yeah, you're good at this. I didn't know you were as good enough to be on TV, so go do it.
Yeah,
But
it would have made more sense if they were like, in the fall, and it's like June now or something.
But we're just so programmed to expect that manufactured conflict that we're so weirded out when the dad is just like cool with him being a dancer now.
The Bobo. It's like the only name I can remember now. Heishuan gives everyone shoes.
Oh, yeah. And that was a fun bit. We don't get to see the payoff until later that Tai-Ho had bought shoes for little sister. And now he was all embarrassed to give them to her because this guy bought all fancy shoes for everyone.
Yeah, and they looked nice.
Yeah.
Although
you couldn't tell because in China regionals, they cut off their feet for almost the whole thing. You can't see any feet.
No feet allowed.
Yeah. There's also no energy allowed.
No.
Black Tiger Crew won, and they shouldn't have won because they didn't look good in that.
No, that was very clearly not the best dance. It seemed very slow motion and kind of boring. But I wonder if the original music had been in there, it would be more, like, it would make more sense.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe they were trying to do something. China regionals.
So they lose, so now they can't go against Phantom Crew.
In the nationals?
No, I don't know. I don't know about how the whole regional thing is. But regardless, whoever won that would win the chance to go against Phantom Crew, who's like the best crew in the world. And so they decide, like, well, we're going to take it to the internet. That's how we'll get our chance. And we'll challenge them online.
On the internet. It seems like someone who wrote this doesn't actually understand what the internet is.
Or they just watched the Step Up movies and that exact thing had happened in one of them. And it made a little more sense in this.
It did.
Because they said, hey, come, we're going to challenge you. Here's our cool dance. And then a reporter or someone says, Kung Fu street dance has become this week's most trending topic. Because the new Sky Crew does this Kung Fu street dance. And it's the most trending topic. So eventually, the Phantom Crew sees it and goes like, all right, yeah, we accept your challenge. Your internet challenge has worked.
In another strange bit of, like, conflict that they created, the guy from the opening sequence who got bottled comes back and challenges him to a fight.
Yeah, and also, we only get this revealed in the end credits. Yeah. His name's Chipmunk. But he has a big scar now because he got that glass smashed into his face.
And he points to it at one point.
Yeah.
And so
he tells his brother, like, get Tai-Ho over here so I can beat the shit out of him. And then there's like a sad montage. Everyone's having a bad time because there's some sort of argument, but I kind of remember what it is. I think because their challenge has not been accepted at this point. So they're sad because they lost China regionals. And the brother doesn't tell Tai-Ho about Chipmunk coming back. Instead, he says to Tai-Ho, like, hey, meet me and all your friends. Yeah, meet me over at this place. But that is not where the brother is going. The brother owns a garage, but the garage doesn't look like a garage. It looks like a polished
dance studio with cars.
Cement warehouse. Yeah. Yeah, because they all look like that.
Yeah. It was very open for a garage.
It's huge. And then they have a wrench fight because, you know, he's a fighter, but also a mechanic. So he fights with a wrench, beats up a bunch of guys, including one random white guy. And it's like a big reveal. Like, look at this guy. He's white.
Yeah.
And then they have a...
Like, what was the point of that? Because they make a point of showing that.
They're like, hey, look, it's a real production. We can afford one white guy.
We can afford one white guy. And then the brother gets sliced in the leg.
Yes.
And dies.
Yeah, but one thing to mention, the fight sequence, actually quite good.
Yeah.
I thought it was well choreographed fight.
Yeah, good choreography. And not as much like cutting between shots as like an American movie would have.
Maybe, yeah, because they could actually fight. They didn't have to hide things.
They're always like, oh, big Marvel fight, but most of it is just like flashing pictures, almost, and then it like looks really crazy. So I appreciated, even just from like a Vertigo standpoint, that there wasn't a lot of like really big flashy moments. So the brother gets slashed up and he dies in the alley in a very sad moment where the whole dance crew is there.
Yeah, and there's some CG snow going on.
Yeah, it was funny that that's when it snowed. Like,
Yeah.
They really wanted to manufacture that sadness.
And they hold like not a funeral, but in the alley they hold a little service for him where they have his picture up and they're all giving things.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the crew members is wearing a jacket and the back just says "eat shit."
Yeah, so I wrote down some of the things that their clothing said because like this isn't for an American audience, but
Yeah.
I was really surprised how much English was on their clothing.
Oh, yeah. So I used to take pictures. I taught in Korea for many years,
Yeah.
and I would just take pictures of my kids' clothes and like send them to my friends. Like, oh, look what I saw today. And there were such great shirts. Once I had this like 8-year-old girl who's super sweet, and she had a t-shirt that said, "Don't bother me, I'm having a cunty day." That was one of my favorites.
This is a child?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because they couldn't read
They don't
it.
know what it means.
Yeah.
So I made a little list, and this is not even like all of the shirts that I saw.
Mhm.
So I have velvet,
Yeah.
overdose,
Right.
antisocial,
Mm-hmm.
night call, eat shit,
Yeah.
and then urban.
Yeah. I feel like half of those, though, would be on hoodies that I see here.
Yeah, I feel like some of those definitely. But it was just funny, like night call.
I always think when I was there, especially, I'd be like, oh, it's funny. It's not like we write Chinese things all over our stuff and don't know what it means. Oh, yeah, we absolutely
Yeah,
do that.
we do.
100% that happens.
That was a huge thing.
Yeah, remember every girl with a tattoo of like, this means peace. And I was like, no, it doesn't. It means egg roll. You don't know. You saw that on a menu.
Yeah.
So then after the death of the brother, and the brother does say, like, do me a favor, don't avenge my death.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting. And you'd think, like, oh, the rest of the movie is going to be him struggling with should he fight that guy or should he concentrate on the dance?
Yeah.
No.
He's
He
like,
listens to his brother and
okay.
says, okay, for you, I will not. And that's the end of that conflict.
It's like really quick wrap ups in these conflicts.
People just behave like,
Nice people.
I guess, or sometimes they don't behave like they're in a movie.
Yeah. Or step up movie.
Yeah, a step up movie at least. So then they find out that their challenge has been accepted, so they're training for their Phantom Crew battle.
Phantom Crew battle, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's this big competition, and Phantom Crew has invited them to compete also against Black Tiger Crew.
Yeah, and whoever wins the Black Tiger Sky Crew battle gets to go against Phantom Crew.
Yes. So Phantom Crew dances, and then
And they're good.
They're really good.
They're very
I
good.
was really impressed. So Phantom Crew is made up of, I assume Americans because they're described as America's best dance
Yeah,
crew.
they're from LA.
Yeah, or
they say.
North America's best dance crew. So we assume that they are all from the U.S. And some random girl comes into Sky Crew's dressing room and gets the two lead dancers to go meet some fans.
They're like, oh, there's these little children. They came from so far. Come meet them. They're like,
They
oh,
are
okay, I guess.
your number one fans.
But are there fans there?
There are no fans. They're led into like another like, but it's probably just prop storage from the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
But it's this like backstage kind of looking room, and then they're beaten up.
But they're not, because Taiho and Hishuan beat the shit out of these three guys.
Mhm.
Because luckily they also trained to fight, because his brother taught him how to fight, and then after he died, he was practicing his
Yeah.
fighting, and then Hishuan came up and like maybe practiced a bit with him. So that kind of like does link back to the brother having an influence now.
Yeah, that was nice.
And they beat up those dudes, and while the Black Tigers are doing their dance, and when it's their turn to come out, they're all not there because they're busy beating up guys.
And they get about 2.5 seconds wait after their name is called. And
Yeah.
then they're like, well, guess they're not here. And you can see in this montage, you can see the two guys who have just beaten down three guys to get out of this room. And you can see them running through this theater. And then they finally make it on time and do their dance.
Did we mention that the Black Tigers are the ones that hired those guys to beat them up?
No, we didn't.
Okay, well, it was them. It was that same bad guy that kicked Hishuan earlier on. He's just a piece of shit pretty boy. Yeah. And then we get to see Sky Crew's big finale.
Big
and
Tai
I
Chi
liked
dance.
it.
Yeah.
Because it starts off with traditional music, which was fun because they kind of like modernized that. And then they turn it into something else, of course. I thought it was quite good. I love that they cut to the dad and the assistant and they're liking it.
Yeah.
And all the like the pole dancers, they're watching at home and cheering it on.
Yeah, it was kind of neat to see all the crowd going like crazy for this dance. And it was also really neat to see how they kind of incorporated the Tai Chi and the street dance. And how...
And the Kung Fu.
And how it actually like really fit well together.
Yeah.
Like it looked really cool. And I'm sure Maria, best dancer ever.
Oh, yeah.
She'd probably know more about like mixing styles.
Right.
But I think they did a really good job.
Well, they call her the bartender because she just mixes up anything.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how good she is.
Oh, well, she is the best dancer ever.
That's what I hear.
So Phantom and Sky Crew are the winners of round 1. I assume that was round 1?
Yeah, well, I think Phantom was just doing an exhibition.
Oh, okay.
And then Sky Crew beat the Black Dragon, so now they have to do a battle. Because there
battle.
is a difference in this movie. There are more clear delineations between just like doing a dance and doing a dance battle where it's back and forth.
Yes.
So now we get to see the dance battle with
Phantom
and Sky Crew. And I think this was pretty good too. Like... Phantom Crew had those 2 women who were the lead for a lot of their stuff.
Yeah,
they were very
they looked
good.
like twins.
Kind of, yeah. And Sky Crew did this like cool slow motion thing. Like the video wasn't in slow motion, but they moved in slow motions for certain parts and like react to things. I think the camera work really did them a disservice because I couldn't see a lot of the cool stuff.
Yeah, that was the downside of this one.
But the back and forth was really cool. I didn't love the contortionist as much.
No,
I didn't know if that was
weird.
cool dance or it's just like you have weird arms.
Yeah, it was kind of distressing
to
watch.
Old Stevie Weird arms, yeah.
Yeah, old Stevie Weird arms. And so it was neat, like you said, to see them go back and forth because you could actually get a sense of like the call and response that was kind of happening. Whereas in some of these dance battles in other Step Up movies, it's not really sensical.
Yeah,
it goes back and forth.
We send our top 2, then you send your top 2, then you send someone who's like specialized in something different, and then we send someone who's specialized in something weird.
Yeah, you kind of get a flow to it, which was really neat, and made dance battles make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, because this one had rules and sense, not like those other stupid Step Up movies. And then they do announce the winner, and it is
Phantom Crew. Which is also different.
Yeah. But then the Phantom Crew does Sky Crew's like finale, like their sign-off signature as like a sign of respect, and then comes in like hugs them. So like they lost, but they won the respect of everyone.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
That's very cool. And that was different because I feel like in every other Step Up movie, the main people win, whether or not they deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah, and usually they don't. There's always a better other crew because the handsome people usually aren't the best handsome.
No. I felt like Sky Crew might have been better than Phantom Crew.
I don't know. Those 2 girls for Phantom were really good.
Yeah.
It was tight.
It was tight.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it was a clear winner either way. I probably would have given it to Phantom. But it's close either way. Oh, yeah. And then there's been this whole romance between Hishuan and Little Sister. And then he looks at Tai-Ho and Little Sister and goes, oh, I see. And then goes to Little Sister and says, like, yeah, go to him.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I forgot about that.
And then Tai-Ho and Little Sister are like just a couple now.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I love you. Yeah, I love you too. All right, then.
Let's be together then.
Done.
The end.
And then it really is the end. And then a postscript pops up and it says like, oh yeah, that guy with the scar, his name's Chipmunk. He's in jail now for 20 years.
Yeah.
What?
I've never seen a like post, what is that called?
Like a postscript or a
epilogue?
Yeah, it's an epilogue.
Okay, so I've never seen like an epilogue script in a movie where it wasn't based on the real story.
Oh, I've seen it. There's a fun tradition of that type of thing.
Oh.
Like going back to like Animal House and things like that, where they would go through each character and say what happens to them.
Oh, okay.
And I love that as a technique. I usually only see it in true stories or comedies. Though.
Yeah.
It was strange to have it at the end of a dance movie
And have it be so
have
serious.
it only refer to one character who was only in the movie for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that guy went to jail for 20 years.
The end.
So just so everything's wrapped up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I wasn't wondering.
Yeah, kind of forgotten.
Yeah, because that was wrapped up so quickly, and then there was like all this great dance at the end that, I wasn't really wondering what happened to Chipmunk.
But I think if we were talking here today, we'd be like, that guy just killed his brother and didn't have to do anything? Like, he's just free now?
Yeah, fair.
So.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like we probably would have.
So they wrapped it up nicely.
Yeah, the end.
The end. And that is Step Up 6, Year of the Dance.
Or Step Up China.
Yeah.
So, what a roller coaster ride this movie is.
It really was.
In a good way, though, I think.
And it was short, too. It's like 90 minutes. It was, I think, worth a watch. If you're going to watch other Step Up movies, this is far from the worst.
Mm-hmm.
So check it out.
Okay.
Do you want to try to rank your Step Ups?
Okay, I have
We've
all the
watched
Step
all
Ups
6 now.
in front of me now. So,
Do you want to go first? Worst to best?
you go first.
So number 6, I'm going to go with Step Up All In, Step Up 5.
Okay.
Thought that was a piece of shit, just a mishmash. I hated most of the main characters. There was some moose, not enough moose.
Never enough moose.
There's never enough moose.
No,
that is true.
moose. I missed moose in this movie.
Yeah, this movie, the only thing that could have, well, lots of things could have made it better, but the only reasonable thing that could have made it better without just making it a good movie, if that crew was led by Moose. Like the American crew that comes over to battle.
That would have been amazing.
It should have been Moose.
It should have been Moose.
It should have been the Red Bucket Kids.
I was secretly hoping it was going to be the Red Bucket Kids.
Yeah, it really should have been. That would have like brought everything full circle.
Mm-hmm.
So All In is my least favorite. And then I'll probably go Revolution, which was 5, the Miami one. Oh, All In was 5.
Yeah.
Revolution was the 4th one. I think that is the next worst.
Mm-hmm.
Because those two had the same leads as well. And
Yes.
that best friend who I think was drunk.
Yeah, I agree. Those two were kind of low on my rankings of these movies, for sure.
Then I'm going to go 1.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like 1. I think it was a bad movie.
Okay.
But I feel like that one, when you remember it, it seems better. But as I was watching it, I was like, this is a piece of shit. I don't know. 1 and 2 are close, so I'll say 2 is next.
Okay. Is it China or is it
And then
3D?
Actually, I might go 1, then China, then 2. But I feel like 1, China, and 2 are all very close. That they're like, yeah, it was all right.
And then 3D?
And then my number 1 movie that is in the Step Up franchise
yes.
is Step Up 3, Step Up 3D. Because the first half of that movie breaks the mold, and then they realize, like, oh, yeah, we just had to do what we're doing for all the other ones.
Yeah.
And the first half of that movie is the best Step Up of all of them. Because that's when it's Moose going to university. He's like battling Kid Darkness.
Yeah.
And just like China has fun with the battles and like, all right, I don't like you, let's battle.
Yeah.
Step Up 3D does that for the first half. And remember, there's like people like battling him in the bathroom and he's like running away and there's like rooms full of speakers and that was fun.
The cool set for that one for sure.
Step Up 3D is easily my favorite.
Okay.
And then there's those 3 as like kind of tied for numbers 2 through 4.
Yeah.
And then those bad ones at the end.
All In and Revolution?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my ranking of the Step Up movies are, I think we agree on a few of them. So I think All In and Revolution are the worst because they've got that, like you said, they've got the same cast, same problems, and there's not enough moose.
Yeah.
I think Step Up to the Streets is third worst. I think original Step Up. I think I have to agree with you.
You've changed your whole thing from like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I must have made a very convincing list.
You did make a very
I feel like you're
convincing
agreeing
list.
with the whole list
I
now.
think I am. And then China and then 3D because it was so much fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're very easy to convince. I'm going to start convincing you of things more often.
No, because...
You know what's great? Cilantro.
No, it's
Let
not.
me tell you about
No.
it.
No thanks.
It's very good. Just give it a shot.
So, I'm sad now because we're at the end of our Step Up time.
You know what you could do is just pick another franchise, like...
Fast and the Furious.
Oh, I would totally do all of those.
I've
but
never
I was
seen a
gonna
Fast and the Furious movie, so we could really get into that, I think.
And if we start them now, 10 would be coming out by the time we...
Do another... Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's every other week or every 2 weeks.
But then we would have... It's like a year.
I know.
Your picks would just be Fast and the Furious.
Yeah. I'll think about it. So this episode is brought to you by Taproot Edmonton. Taproot publishes a weekly arts roundup, gathering up what's happening locally in theater, dance, the visual arts, and the literary arts, and more. Subscribe to the arts roundup for free at taprootedmonton.ca.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of our big step up journey. I think it's safe to say we stepped up.
We stepped all the way up. So we will see you next week when Indy and I bring you some spoiler-free reviews of what we're liking that week. And then Indy will reveal our big watch for the week after.
It's going to be real linked to the Step Up franchise, I think.
Is it?
Nope.
It's going to be like, oh, that's different. Okay, we'll see you next week, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.